Hi, Mandy Sackett with the Surfrider Foundation, speaking on behalf of our Santa Barbara chapter this morning. So first and foremost, Surfrider strongly supports the repair and reconstruction of the Gaviota Pier without any delay. The pier has been closed, as you've heard, since 2014. And the fact that it hasn't been repaired yet is really unacceptable. We need to move forward. This is a key point of access to Hollister Ranch. However, Surfrider really strongly opposes the proposal to install 1,700 tons of rock at the pier's landward abutment. This is an enormous amount. It would go out to the third piling. It covers 1,200 square feet. That's bigger than my 400 square feet bigger than my two-bedroom apartment. You'd think State Parks was trying to protect this pier for a century. So this project is repair, and the Moffatt and Nichol analysis makes that clear. It states that the coastal study indicated that even with the revetment in place, the long-term viability of the timber pier is contingent on the rate of sea level rise. At some point in the not-so-distant future, the timber pier must be removed, and at which time the revetment would be removed as well and the shoreline restored. But if the pier has to be redesigned in the not-so-distant future, why would we allow something as permanent and impactful as 1,700 tons of riprap? Let's repair it now, enjoy it. When the time comes in 10, maybe 20 years, we'll redesign it properly. So the riprap would be placed directly on sensitive rocky intertidal reef within the Kashtayit State Marine Conservation Area, part of the state's network of marine protected areas. MPAs are afforded protection in Section 30230 of the Coastal Act, and avoidable impacts as proposed by state parks are really unacceptable. These are our hope spots. We're counting on our MPAs to function. And I can't even fathom the logic here. It makes me emotional. This is absolutely inconsistent with MPA regulations due to impacts on marine life and sensitive habitat. There's just no way. Department of Fish and Wildlife clearly stated their concern in their letter. And even in Gaviota State Beach on the state park's own website, the park boasts about this natural rocky shoreline as one of their geogems. It says the coastal bluffs at Gaviota State Park reveal a 500-foot thick cross-section of the geographically extensive Monterey Formation. So the geologic layers contain some nicely preserved fossils, even complete skeleton of a halibut-like fish. Why would we destroy and cover this up, make the bluffs to the north inaccessible? So, here's the thing. As you've heard, State Parks has identified an alternative to the riprap, and the staff recommendation is recommending that alternative. They could change the construction material at the base of the pier and avoid this need for riprap altogether, yet they're refusing to do so, and I think that their excuses are really inadequate and frankly sort of offensive. First, State Parks condition number 5, their objection of the added cost, seems negligible when you consider that the project is expected, according to the Santa Barbara Independent, to cost $20 million. So one of the estimates that Parks put forward is that this might cost $500,000. That's 2.5% increase. And that also doesn't account for mitigation, which I'm going to get into in a second. So State Parks also claims that the open decking could cause safety hazard for visitors during a storm. Luckily, it is 2019, and our ability to predict those events is really finely tuned. Clearly, state parks could close the pier to the public during those events, but they dismissed this solution due to effects on public access. But the project proposed would permanently cut off public access to the beach area and the base west of the pier. And I just think the preference here is really clear, especially in an MPA. So, another concern that we just wanted to state and put on the record, that this riprap could have unknown impacts to lateral sand transport, potentially degrading, increasing erosion for the rest of the beach to the south. Beach loss might occur at the main beach here. Okay, so the riprap is not needed and would not be adequately mitigated for as proposed by Parks. Their proposal is to have a habitat compensation ratio of 3-to-1 restored to loss by removing debris and fishing gear in a different area. This rationale to me just does not make any sense. The riprap would obliterate this existing habitat, but removal of the debris might only have a small positive effect, and it's unclear and unverifiable whether removing that gear will really mitigate the impacts. The proposal does nothing to mitigate the public access impacts to the beach. And their calculations that they're complaining about here today, they just don't account for actual mitigation costs for lost marine habitat and beach recreation. We don't know what DFW might require them. So it could be a wash cost-wise, and I just hope that we can take that into consideration. So in conclusion, this small increase in funding for a better design, it's really not an excuse. I don't think we've really heard any legitimate excuses here, especially when we're talking about protecting rocky intertidal habitat in a marine protected area. If state parks is lacking the planning ability to make smart decisions and manage their coastline, their dynamic eroding coastline, considering sea level rise, the Coastal Commission is going to have to do it for them. I don't think that we can, sacrifice, endanger public resources in our MPAs just because we're afraid of interagency politics. First and foremost, your mandate as a commission is to protect the coast, even if that means saving it from agencies and other governments. So, we just encourage you to adapt the staff recommendation today. And thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, that's the last of my speakers.